Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. We have a busy week, a lot of things to talk about. We'll get into Andrew McCutchen. We'll get into Eugenio Suarez. How about the Penguins? Should they be buyers or sellers? But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers with Mike McCarthy as their head coach. We welcome in Mike DeCourcy, who does great work with the Sporting News, Mark Kaboly from the Pat McAfee Show all over the Steelers, and Will Graves.
Shout out, Wanda. Thanks for the Twizzlers.
From the Associated Press. He'll take those Twizzlers to Milan next week where you're covering the Olympics, as he's done many, many times. All right, so guys, let's get into it. Start with you, Mark. You got.
I thought you were going.
Well, I was just a wave of the hand, but I want to start with you, Mark, about Mike McCarthy. It's interesting because we had 10 openings, I think, and all the talk was of Shula and Shieldhouse and everybody else, and they didn't get any jobs. Mike McCarthy did. Were you surprised? Is he the right guy for the job?
I think he's the right. I think he's the right guy for the job. Yeah, especially after his press conference the other day, he sold me on that, and maybe he's selling me a bill of goods. But he seems like a guy's very passionate about his job right now. You don't have to worry about any burnout or him just going through the motions. I think he has a nice coaching tree, which is something we complained about for years and years and years with Mike Tomlin. He's bringing guys in. He's bringing some younger guys. He's bringing some older guys in. I'm willing to give it a shot here compared to, especially now when you see a guy like Shula obviously not getting the job, Shieldhouse obviously not getting the job. That says there was some red flags with them. I think they couldn't have did much better than what they did, to be honest with you. I'm really excited to what Mike McCarthy can bring.
Are you, Mike?
I'm not. They had 55 years, basically, of a successful plan that worked, a formula. You hire a young, defensive-oriented, esteemed, extraordinary leader. That was the formula. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. It worked for 55 years. Every one of them left with a Super Bowl. Every one of them left with multiple Super Bowl appearances. And they won consistently, fewer losing seasons than just about any franchise, more victories than any franchise, about the same number of playoffs appearances as the best franchises. They're up at the top of all those charts, and it all came from that formula. So now you're deviating from that formula simply because, or apparently because, you're concerned about getting quarterback right. You can't make a decision based on one position, as important as that position is, because, in my opinion, lots of people can get the quarterback right if the organization is right. The Steelers have never messed up a super talented quarterback. They messed with it a little bit with Bradshaw at the beginning. Ben at the end, they never messed him up. So there's no reason to believe that just because somebody hasn't necessarily worked with great quarterback play in the past that he can't do it.
I mean, but Mike, the flip side of that is they've made 3 successful hires, 2 of whom are in the Hall of Fame, and the third one who might very well be in the Hall of Fame one day. So does the organization maybe deserve the benefit of the doubt that they know what they're doing with, when they're picking this position? And I would say there has been a shift organizationally with Omar and Andy Weidel. They are doing things more aggressively. They're doing things they're taking bigger swings. And I think in a weird way, this is a short-term decision. This is by Steelers standards, right? I mean, it's a 5 to 7 year, probably best case scenario decision. And, do I love it? I mean, it's weird. If Twitter had existed, social media had existed in 2007 the way it does today, what would have been the reaction to Mike Tomlin?
Well, we saw it even without Twitter.
Right? Who the hell is Mike Tomlin, right?
I mean, why did he get the job? After
all this guy has done, all this guy has done is been successful. And I had somebody say you hear that it's the Tomlin 2.0 stuff, and I mean, obviously their resumes are pretty similar. But this is the one thing I do like about the decision. If they had hired a defensive guy, and they find a quarterback and they get a coordinator. Well, that coordinator if they have success, that coordinator is going to leave. All right, and the league has changed.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Right, but you might miss on the next guy. I mean, look what happened when Wiz left, right? Wiz left, and then we had basically a revolving door of guys at that position.
Well, after Wiz left, though, they won a Super Bowl and made another with Bruce Arians. I mean, I realized.
And then what happened after that? I mean, it's a bit then I'm sorry, you're right.
You want that, though, don't you? That's what you want. You want a tree.
But I would rather have a guy that is going to be. I mean, look, his offenses have been productive. Through 18 years. He's been productive as a head coach.
But he's not the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach.
He's calling the plays.
I understand that, but my point is that his job is to run the whole show, and the rest of his teams have not been great. He had the best, most talented quarterback in the league for a decade, and he made one Super Bowl. And he wasn't coming through Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. He was going. He got stonewalled by Nick Foles and Cam Newton and a lot of other guys who weren't nearly at that level.
Let's not pretend that they hired Rich Kotite, though. I mean, like, the reaction is like this. I mean, I understand it is sort of more. It feels more of the same, but it is. Look, I think that the defensive coordinator hire was a good hire, and I would rather have a guy that. To your point, they have fallen short in the playoffs, but some of that is like outside of the coaching stuff. I mean, some of that is Rodgers just did not play well in a lot of those games.
I think they identified from the beginning that they need the quarterback. They know that they can't go any further with this. They identified Mike McCarthy as a guy who can get the Aaron Brooks and make him into a decent player. He can take a guy like Dak Prescott and make him a guy who had his 3 best seasons under Mike McCarthy. He's a guy that inherited Aaron Rodgers, in his 2nd or 3rd year. Who knows? Sure, Aaron Rodgers probably would have been a Hall of Famer without him, but he is part of that story as well. If you're coming out of this in 5 years with a franchise quarterback and 5 missed playoffs, I would say that's a success.
I mean, and talk about the way the league changes. This is the first Super Bowl with a matchup of 2 defensive coaches in like 17 years. The league is changing. You need a guy as your head coach that knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. And I would rather have that. I'm not saying he was the perfect hire, but I think they could have done a lot worse.
You bring a defensive guy like Mike McDonald. He brings in a guy like Clint Kubiak. Now he's going to get a job here.
Right, and we'll see what happens next year with Darnold, right?
Let me ask you something, Bob. If they would have went to that same formula of young defensive first-year head coach, guess what? Half the people would complain, same old Steelers, doing the same old
It doesn't matter.
You can't,
you
can't please everybody.
But the same old Steelers who were Super Bowl champions 4 times in the 70s, and then again they made the Super Bowl in 95, and then they won it in 05, and they won in 08. Those are the same old Steelers. I would sign up for that.
So Chris Scholla didn't go anywhere, so everybody must think he's
Well, I'm not saying him in particular. I wasn't in those interviews. None of us was.
Yeah.
But the concept has worked for 55 years. It's not just, it worked twice or whatever. I mean, it worked for that entire period of time, and they went away from it. And I think they went away from it for one specific reason. And I understand the importance of that position, but I don't think that you have to have a Mike McCarthy to succeed at that position. I think you have to have a Ben Roethlisberger, or a John Elway, or a Tom Brady, or whoever.
Right. I mean, all of this is moot if they can't find the guy. It doesn't matter who the coach is if they can't find the quarterback.
That's going to be our next question when we come back. We're going to talk about the quarterback. If it's Aaron Rodgers, fine. He'll come back for another year at age 44. If it's not, then who will it be? Will it be Will Howard? We'll talk into that next when we continue right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, we're back talking about the quarterback. I had a chance to speak with Mike McCarthy, and he did say, quote, that's the plan. We'd love to have one more final chapter before we're gone. And he was talking about the situation at quarterback and Aaron Rodgers returning potentially, but it's still up to Aaron Rodgers. So, Mike, I'll start with you on this. If it's his call and he's coming back, obviously he's going to get. Is that the right choice for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2026?
It's hard for me to say it is, because we saw how difficult it was when you played a significant pass rush to have a quarterback who was immobile. We saw it in the Cleveland game, which was a vital game in a sense. I mean, you didn't want to have to be in that Baltimore game playing for your existence. And then we saw it in the Houston game. Aaron Rodgers is still a good, obviously, brilliant football mind, great arm still, but the immobility causes so many problems when you face a significant pass rush like that. And as much trouble as he had moving at 41, how much better is he going to be at 42? So I just don't see how, unless you had somebody coming in, like if this were a great draft class and you knew you were going to get your guy and you kept Aaron so that he could mentor him, great. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
I don't see any harm in bringing him back whatsoever. I still think he plays extremely well for his age. I think he gives them the best chance to win right now. We know that's Art Rooney, and you can sit here and debate on if that's the right way to look at it, but they want to win right now. What's the worst thing can happen? I mean, he can mentor a guy like Will Howard, who spoke glowingly of him last year. Even Mason Ross, even if they bring in, somehow they get a Ty Simpson. So I don't see anything wrong with him coming back to have a chance to win. You have to add the pieces. Remember what the wide receiver position looked like last year. He was pretty much hamstrung. And now you got two pretty good offensive line coach. One, Hall of Famer, or soon-to-be Hall of Famer, Jahari Evans, as assistant offensive line coach. I think it's, like I said, I don't see any downside.
I wonder.
Unless.
I wonder. I mean, you know, there's always that 1 year too long, right? There's some guys that, like Favre's last year turned into a disaster, right? I mean, I think of Brady's last year was pretty mad by his standards, and I just wonder at some point,
it can happen quickly, too.
The magic's going to run out. To Mark's point, you know, I think that the draft that they're going to have in April, the class, is not the class that they thought they were going to have in August, right? I mean, either guys stunk. And their draft boards, their stock slid, or they decided to stay where they were at in school and make money and start and play for a good team, right? I don't, as a 1 year whatever, like I think it doesn't, the guy that's going to take them to the promised land is not on the roster right now. And he's not going to be in the draft.
Yeah, but you could be delaying it based on a year of.
I mean, so like it's fine. Like it's fine. It's fine.
The only one downside I see, Bob, is this. He hits that cliff, goes over it, but they don't want to recognize it because it's Aaron Rodgers. And they keep throwing him out there, keep throwing him out there. But everybody knows that he's just not that guy anymore, rather than go to Mason or Will Howard at that point. That's the only downfall.
What's the plan B if Rodgers says, Mike, I'm done. I'm coming out of my 4 days of darkness, and I'm done.
What?
And if he's done, how should they proceed?
Well, the plan B depends on how much time they give him. I mean, last year they gave him basically till June, although I always thought they probably knew exactly where they were going with that. But you need to know in advance of free agency whether he wants to come back, because you need to know whether you want to take a legitimate swing at Malik Willis, for instance, or you want to try to bring in Mac Jones, someone like that. Obviously, that's not a free agent situation, but if you want to try to move for that, you have to know in advance of the league year in order to do that. If you wait until he decides, like he did last year, you miss all those opportunities, and you're basically just rolling with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're pretty much they're not going to set a hard deadline.
I'm not asking you if it's not going to. I'm asking you if it happens. How would you go about it?
Well, first of all, I think you'll know by March if it's going to happen or not. And there's a very, very, very high probability of him coming back. But to play your game,
Play
Bob.
the game. Play the game. I just want to know what the
What do
game
they do? I don't go meet Malik Willis. I don't even go Mac Jones. What else are you going to go out there like Jacoby Brissett or Tyrod Taylor? I mean, it's just really
the door
bad.
could be open
right?
for a guy like Howard or Rudolph. Just figure it out.
Yes,
and
you
see what
probably
happens.
keep the two you have and say Mason will battle it out.
I mean, I wouldn't financially commit to anybody for more than 1 year. Like, there is no agreement that I would get into, whether it's a trade or whether it's a free agent signing where it's beyond the season. Like, that would be a non-starter, because, I mean, look, the one thing we've learned about this position with this team is that, I mean, like, if Aaron comes back, it'll be the first time since 21 they'll have the same week 1 starter 2 years in a row. Yeah. Right. So
and that pretty much sums up where they are right now. So they have to figure that out at some point. If it's now, or maybe it won't be. We'll find out. When we come back, we're going to talk about the red-hot Pittsburgh Penguins. 13-2-2 since the Christmas break, best record in the NHL. Should they be buyers at the deadline? That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. How about them? They are right now in possession of second place, close to first place, one of the hottest teams, which leads to a question, Mike, I don't think anyone thought they would ask at this point. Should they be buyers at the trade deadline? Everyone assumed coming into this season that they were going to just be a team that's going to sell off people. I don't think they can do that now, can they?
Oh, goodness, no. They have a really nice young group. Kindle's been fantastic. The fourth line has been magical. And so, no, I don't think you sell. You try to maybe bolster the defense a little bit. If there's a winger out there who can make you a little better without having to cost too much, then absolutely do that. But no question in my mind, you want to take a run at this, because you've got Sid still playing at a high level. You have Gino playing at a high level. It went before Letang got hurt. He was playing great. You've seen Carlson's playing his best as a Penguin. Why not take a shot at it?
Yeah, especially because you have those guys there, been there for a long time.
Yeah, you know,
last chance maybe.
Obviously, I don't think this was in their plans. I think they probably would like to sell at the deadline rather than bring somebody in. But this is how pretty much. I think he has to change it around a little bit. Like you said, I think defenseman's number one. You have to be able to get somebody else, a bigger guy, bigger body guy in there, and hopefully not give up much for it as well. I mean, Raquel seemed like a guy that would go, but they're not going to move him at all, right? What I do like,
nor should they right now. If that first line's
off the topic a little bit, Gino's playing one heck of a. I'm just wondering if he's playing.
Sure, he does. He wants to come back.
He wants to come back
because he's gotten to the point of his career where he's just doing this because he's having fun.
Yes.
I mean, like I was there last night. You know, they brought the 2016 team out. Sid, uncharacteristically showed some emotion pregame. Jeff Hathorn and I asked him about it sort of after the game, and Sid said, "Look, you sort of forget stuff, right? I don't watch this stuff on YouTube." And then you see the highlights and you see the guys around you, and you see all the memories come flooding back. And I think what he does understand, though, one of the reasons the tears were there is because he knows how fleeting this is. I think that they thought if you had told them when they got off the ice in Nashville in 2017. You're not going to win. You're going to win one playoff series in the next 8 years. He'd be like, "Are you kidding me? There's no chance. There's no chance that that's going to happen, right?" But that's what's happened. So I think he understands. And look, to your point, I think that even Kyle Dubas understands. Like he's trying to build for the future. But what has he been saying since he took the job? I want to have them be consistent contenders, not just pop. But I mean, look, as Sid pointed out to last night, Mantha. Look, the third line, Mantha, 2 really nice goals last night. Achari's playing well. Lizotte is like
fourth line.
I mean, it's
incredible.
And if you look at I'm not saying they're going to win the cup, but I'm saying the ingredients that you need for them to be a successful playoff team are there, and there's a chance to add to it.
I have 1 minute left in this segment. I'll ask you this: Jason Robertson is a guy that Dallas will not be able to afford moving. He is a big-time prospect, not just a prospect, a superstar. I think.
Right.
30 goals this year already. He's 26 years old. If you had a chance, Mike, and again, I have a minute left. Would you make a deal for him?
Again, it depends on the price. But I believe that one of the things about selling off that is missed is the guys like Kendall can watch how Sid and Gino and those guys play and win in big games, down the stretch and in the playoffs. And that's a learning experience
Just like
as well.
Howard for Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important. That people forget when you sort of strip it down and that whole blow it up concept. Like, having great players show young players how to win is important.
I think he threw that in your face there.
No, I'm just saying that's similar. I mean, you learn from What, you don't learn from Aaron Rodgers?
No, you do, but I mean, like the idea that like you can replicate Aaron Rodgers by sitting there and watching.
I'm not saying replicate, as he said, learn from.
And Kendall's done more as a pro at 18 than Will Howard.
He certainly has. But the point is,
It's been a long minute, Bob.
I was trying to.
It's a long minute, Bob.
All right, go ahead. Are we out of time? I think we're out of time. So on that note, thank you guys for participating. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Pirates. They missed out on another guy I thought they were going to get, or at least try to. What has happened with them and Andrew McCutchen moving forward? We'll talk about it next. Hey, if you're interested in a new vehicle, don't settle for anything less. The #1 Cochran Kia's clearly better car buying experience. You can enjoy clear-cut pricing where you get their most competitive offer and you get it up front. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance rates and choose from a lineup of hundreds of new Kia models. Experience clearly better car buying at #1 Cochran Kia right now. You can do it in-store, online at cochrankia.com. All right, Will Graves, I want to ask you about 2 things. Eugenio Suarez signs 1 year, $15 million in Cincinnati. Why not here, and how will this affect Andrew McCutchen?
I firmly believe this was a Suarez decision more than it was a Pirates decision. He's thinking about down the road. He's thinking about down the road. He's thinking if he hits 35 bombs in a place that's easier to hit home runs, his next contract his last big contract is more lucrative. With Kutch, until you get 12 batters, in your lineup that are better than him, find a way to bring him back.
Well, I'm skeptical if they even want him. I mean, this is now 3 guys. Now, this offseason, that they come close, but not being able to seal the deal here. It almost sounds like they're going to use this at the old bargaining table next year. Mike, what do you think about that? But I honestly don't believe. I think that's the case. I think they want to be close, but they don't want to bring him on.
Well, you got Paul Skeens. This is the time to strike.
Look, I understand you can't outbid the Dodgers and Yankees, but if you can't outbid the Reds, you're not trying. And that's what I see in all 3 of those, but especially this one. They just didn't try as hard as they need to. And with McCutchen, in '82, I was with the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, and I was covering the Pirates, and I covered Willie Stargell's final year. He was a pinch hitter most of the year, if not all of the year. And I don't see why Kutch can't feel a role like that. He's popular. He still does a decent job at the plate. He's probably not your everyday DH. You should be better than that. but I don't understand why you wouldn't want to bring him back in that role.
Is he willing to come back to play once a week, twice a week? If he is, yes, because he puts butts in seats, and that's all that Bob Nutting cares about. And
I think like Suarez, like I think that Kutch's options elsewhere are limited.
Yeah, I do too. I think, but Suarez not coming here makes it more of a chance that he's going.
$5 million or something? Is that what he had?
The vet minimum's like, yeah, it would be like around $5 million for
That's
Kutch.
beside the point.
Get him here.
There's a guy who had 49 home runs last year.
I think they need to treat him a little bit better too.
Well, they should have had this done ahead of time. That's what I would
At
say.
least told him.
At least told him, because why wait on this? Now it just makes it terrible going into spring trading where it's unsolved business. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and wrap up tonight's show. Thank you for joining us here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Back in a flash. All right, before we go on and ask this question of the panel, Bill Belichick did not get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Was he robbed, Mike DeCourcy?
He was not. L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, Ken Anderson have been waiting forever. L.C.'s not even with us anymore. I don't want that to happen to Roger or Ken. Those guys are Hall of Fame football players. I grew up with that. Those guys belong in. The way the ballot was structured, you could only vote for 3 of 5. Those would have been the 3 I voted for.
It's more of a structure of the ballot.
Oh, we're talking about Bill Belichick. Easily the best coach or the most decorated coach in NFL history. He needed to be in. Forget Ken Anderson. That's what I say.
All right, well, what do you say?
Look, I have the privilege of voting for the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I ding guys if they have non-PED guys, but like what's, oh my God, the guy from the Cardinals that just got in, Beltran. Like I didn't vote for him the first year because of the Astros thing, and then I voted for him the year after that. Bill Belichick will be in the Hall of Fame. It just makes the Hall of Fame look bad. But look, I'm fine because we publish our ballots. We get a lot of smoke for our ballots. I'm fine with some of those rich guys getting some.
We're out of time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next Sunday night right here at 11:35. Good night.